Ethan, 36, stared at his phone. Another cancelled plan. Another last-minute excuse. His chest tightened, his jaw locked. He typed, erased, retyped. "It's okay, I understand." He pressed send even though he didn't understand at all. Minutes later, the doubt started its chant. Did I say something wrong? Was I too needy? Maybe if I act more patient, she'll come closer. You've been there. That sinking weight in your stomach when her interest flickers like a weak flame. The restless pacing in your living room, checking your phone, replaying every conversation. The racing thoughts that say, "Don't mess this up. Hold steady, don't let her see you panic." But here's the truth. This is more than nerves. It's a test. Most women, consciously or not, test the steadiness of a man. Attraction might spark, but respect sustains it. And respect is never free. It's measured in fire. She cancels at the last minute. She ignores a message. She pulls away just enough to see how you respond. To you, it feels cruel. To her, it's instinct. She is asking without words. Can you hold yourself steady? Can you remain grounded when the storm rises? Or will you collapse and prove my fears right? This is where neuroscience meets instinct. Stress triggers cortisol. Anxiety spikes adrenaline. Your body vibrates with restlessness. If you can't regulate those sensations, if you let them rule, will lash out, beg, overcompensate. And once you do, respect begins to erode. Picture a flame pressed against stone. The fire dances, but the stone remains. Now picture the same flame pressed against paper. The fire devours instantly, until nothing remains. Every test asks one question. Are you stone, or are you paper? Mark, 45, remarried after years of loneliness. His new partner often withdrew suddenly, watching how he would react. Each time, Mark panicked. He called 10 times in an hour. He apologized for things he hadn't done. He begged for reassurance. He thought this was love. What it really was conditioning. Every collapse taught her that his peace depended on her approval, and once she saw that, her respect thinned like smoke until it was gone. You tell yourself, if I show her how much I care, she'll feel safe. If I bend, she'll appreciate me. If I chase, she won't leave. But here's the hard truth. Sure chase doesn't reassure her, it exposes you. It proves that your stability is fragile. And fragile cannot be trusted. Not every woman weaponizes this. Some tests are unconscious, born of instinct. But others, especially women carrying their own wounds, learn how to use your fear of loss. They see how desperately you want to keep them, and they push. They withdraw, you pursue. They criticize, you fold. They disappear, you collapse. What began as instinct becomes control. Think of it like standing in quicksand. The harder you thrash, the deeper you sink. Every desperate move convinces her you can't stand on solid ground. And without respect, attraction dies. Let that settle, because here's the paradox. The test isn't about her, it's about you. If her silence dismantles you, if her withdrawal empties you, if her disapproval wrecks you, then your peace was never yours. It was borrowed. A man who cannot survive her absence, cannot hold her presence. That sentence stings, but it is freedom. Because it shifts the game back to where it always belonged, not in her hands, but in yours. Your nervous system is trainable. Neuroscience calls it emotional regulation. Each time you resist the urge to react, each time you breathe instead of begging, each time you choose patience over panic, you rewire your pathways. Slowly, her tests lose their power. You stop living like a puppet pulled by strings. You begin to anchor in your own gravity. And here's what happens when you do. Respect grows. Not because you shouted louder, not because you played games, but because steadiness is magnetic. In a world of men collapsing under the weight of approval, the man who stands still becomes rare. And what is rare becomes valuable. Ask yourself, how many times have you lost her respect, not because you were unkind, but because you were unsteady? How many times did your panic expose what your silence could have proved? How many times did you mistake chasing for loving? You know the answers. This is where the brotherhood comes in. Thousands of men across the world are waking up to this. Men who used to panic at silence, now breathe through it. Men who once begged, now wait. Men who once collapsed, now stand. They are discovering that the test was never about passing her criteria, it was about mastering their own steadiness. And now, you are one of them. The next time your chest tightens, the next time your phone stays silent, the next time the urge to chase gnaws at you, remember this. Every second you remain grounded is a rep in the gym of your nervous system. Every pause is a brick laid in the foundation of respect. Every silence you endure is proof you no longer need to beg for peace. You create it. So let me put it plainly, you don't prove yourself by chasing. You don't earn love by collapsing. You don't secure respect by bending. You secure it by standing stone, not paper. Anthony, 39, sat at dinner with his girlfriend and a few of her friends. The conversation flowed easily until she turned her eyes toward another man at the table. Her laughter sharpened, her posture leaned in. She reached across, touched his arm lightly. Anthony froze. His chest sank. His appetite vanished. On the outside, he smiled politely. On the inside, a voice whispered, "I'll never be enough. She wants someone else. I can't compete." You felt it. That sudden drop when comparison slices you open. The room shrinks. Your heartbeat accelerates. Your stomach knots. You replay the scene all night. What does he have that I don't? Why does she light up for him but fade for me? Maybe I need to change. Maybe I'm the problem. This is the shadow of comparison, and it poisons slowly. Neuroscience explains why it cuts so deep. Brain scans show that social rejection activates the same neural regions as physical pain. That's why your chest tightens, why your body reacts as if wounded. Comparison doesn't just bruise your ego, it burns into your nervous system like fire. The cruel irony. The bad boy you feel crushed by often isn't better. He's just broadcasting something different. Self-sufficiency. He radiates the signal that says, "I don't need you to breathe." And instinctively, that draws attention. It's not the recklessness itself. It's the energy of autonomy. But when you compare yourself, you shrink. You abandon your ground before she ever measures you. Kindness, loyalty, generosity, these are not weaknesses. But when used as currency to buy affection, they lose their value. A gift from fullness is magnetic. The same gift from desperation is invisible. That's why you give, and it feels ignored. It isn't because kindness is worthless. It's because she senses you're giving not from strength, but from fear of being replaced. Think of a shadow cast against a wall, taller, stronger, more imposing than you, but it's only light and angle. Still, you measure yourself against it. That's what comparison does. It convinces you to abandon your height for illusions. Some women weaponize this. A glance, a compliment, a name dropped casually and you spiral. You scramble to prove yourself, desperate to show you're not less. But each time you panic, you teach her something, that her attention controls your worth. Every collapse costs you respect. Let that hit. Because the shadow only wounds you if you choose to stand beneath it. If you stop measuring yourself by illusions, they lose their power. A man anchored in himself doesn't flinch at the mention of another. He doesn't need to outshine shadows. He knows who he is, but beyond comparison lies another trap: the cycle of silent desperation. You've lived it. You bend further, give more, sacrifice endlessly, hoping one day she'll finally see you. You convince yourself endurance is noble, that silence is strength, that if you love harder, she'll stay. But beneath it all is hunger. Hunger to be chosen. Hunger to be enough, and the more you give, the emptier you feel. This is codependence. Your identity begins to orbit her. Your mood rises and falls with her attention. Your world shrinks until it fits inside her approval. Neuroscience shows why inconsistent affection creates the strongest dopamine spikes. You're not addicted to her, you're addicted to the hope she might notice you again. Robert, 51, widowed young, found someone years later. He gave everything: gifts, time, energy. Every morning he left flowers at her door. At first, she smiled. Later, she expected it. Eventually, she didn't even see them. Not because flowers lost meaning, but because they came from fear, not fullness. Devotion born of emptiness suffocates love. It's like shouting into a canyon. The louder you call, the more silence returns. Until you start to believe invisibility is your natural state, feel that truth. The problem isn't that you are too little. The problem is, you pour yourself into someone unwilling or unable to receive you, and you call the emptiness proof of your inadequacy. But the cycle breaks when you reclaim your worth. When you stop begging for scraps. When you realize your value isn't measured by her gaze. You are not alive because she sees you. You are alive because you stand. That shift changes everything. Because when you stop orbiting her, you stop starving. When you stop starving, your presence stops begging. And when your presence stops begging, it becomes magnetic. Men across the world are waking up to this. Men who used to measure themselves by shadows now walk in their own light. Men who once poured endlessly into empty wells now guard their rivers. Men who once begged silently are speaking with steadiness. This is brotherhood. You are not alone in this. Every time you step out of comparison, every time you break the silence, every time you choose your worth over desperation, you join a tribe of men reclaiming themselves. So let me put it plainly. You don't gain respect by proving. You don't create love by begging. You don't secure value by shrinking. You secure it by standing. No more shadows, no more shadows, no more canyons, no more canyons that echo nothing back, only ground beneath your feet, only your own voice, steady at last. It always ends the same. You, sitting in silence, staring at the ceiling, asking the same question. Why do I keep choosing this pain? The body remembers the racing heart, the restless nights, the knot in your stomach. But now, you see what you couldn't before. You weren't cursed. You were conditioned. And once a pattern is named, it loses power. Every alley you walked, every mirror you bled against, every shadow you bowed to it, wasn't proof of weakness. It was proof of longing. You wanted love to heal you. You wanted devotion to fill you. You wanted her to complete what was broken long ago. But now you know, no one can carry that weight for you. Pause. Let that truth settle. You don't end up with the wrong woman because you deserve pain. You end up there because your nervous system follows the familiar. But the brain rewires. Each moment of stillness is a rep. Each refusal to chase is a fracture in the old cycle. Each boundary is a brick in the foundation of your freedom. So ask yourself, how many more times will you rehearse a tragedy you already know by heart? Or will you write something new? Thousands of men across the world are choosing clarity. They are standing, steady and unshakable. And now you are one of them. If this gave you clarity, don't stop here. The next episode uncovers the real reason good men attract toxic women. And it will change how you see attraction forever. Like this. Share your story, and subscribe not for me, but for the man you are becoming.